This video, we're talking about music copyrights. What are they? Why are they important? And how do you enforce them? Hey guys, Brandon here from KDMR Music, the channel making you a more successful musician. Now, just in case you're new around here, we do videos every week. I teach you about music marketing, I give you education and strategies so that you can take your music career to the next level. Now, if you're interested in that type of content, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Now, today we're talking about music copyright, and the copyright is the fundamental aspect of the music industry. It is what everything else is based on. Every contract that you sign, any contract that you sign in the music industry is going to be associated with one of these copyrights. So today I wanted to break down what copyrights are, how you get them, how you enforce them, and how you register for them. Well, let's start with a disclaimer. So I'm not a lawyer, and this video is not any kind of substitute for legal advice. Intellectual property is a portion of the law that is very complex. And so if you want a true in-depth understanding, the best place to go for that would be an intellectual property lawyer or an entertainment attorney. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's talk about what copyright is. Copyright is a term that encompasses 6 different rights that you get as the creator of a published work. Now, these rights are given to you just simply by creating the work in a tangible form. And just by writing something down, right? Let's say you create a proprietary system for handling really complex tasks. Well, if you write down that system, it's now in a tangible form on a piece of paper, and you can register for your copyright, which in this case would be a patent. So for music, we're talking about copyrights and not patents or trademark, but they all are forms of intellectual property. Now, when you create a work, in case of copyrights, you get 6 rights, and we're going to go through them one by one. Now, the first right that you're getting just by creating a tangible work is the right of distribution, meaning it is your right and your right alone to give out this work or a copy of this work to anyone that you see fit, right? So let's talk about that. That really, in terms of the music industry, talks or encompasses how you deliver your music to your customer, whether that's through CDs, records, cassette tapes, even MP3s. You and you alone have the right to give that to as many people as you want. The second right that you get when it comes to copyright is reproduction, meaning you and you alone have the right to make copies of that work. So if someone else is making copies, they're bootlegging, and that's illegal. So you have the grounds to sue them for illegally reproducing your copywritten work. The third right that you get when you establish a copyright is the right of performance. So you and you alone get to perform your music. And not only do you get to perform it, in the literal sense, if that music is played publicly anywhere, that is a public performance as well. And you have the right to control who is able to do that. The fourth right that you have is the right of digital transmission. So we already talked about physical reproduction and manufacturing, but digital transmission, things like radio, your music being played on podcasts, your music being played on videos, your music being played on streaming services, you and you alone have the right to control who does that and for how much money. Now, another right that you have as the owner of a copyright is the right of public display. Now, in the case of music, this most often takes place when your lyrics are displayed somewhere. Think of genius.com that holds lyrics and all sorts of annotations about those lyrics. Well, they have to pay a fee to the record labels and to the copyright owners to be able to publish those lyrics and have them displayed publicly on their website. And the last right that you get as the owner of a copyright is the right to create derivative works. Now, derivative works is actually a pretty broad term, and it can range from anything to rearranging the copyright or the music, or it could be something like changing the lyrics a little bit. Um, there are some exceptions, like the rule for parody, where people can actually parody your music without your permission necessarily. And then there's also when people create full new works that are just based on your creation. So let's say somebody decides to adapt your music into a stage play musical. Well, you get you have the right to deny them use of your music in that way. So that's derivative works in a nutshell. But again, you should speak to a copyright attorney if you really want to know if somebody's work is infringing on yours. Now, when we talk about all six of these rights, what they really boil down to is control. When you create a work, you now have the right to control every aspect of that work. You control whether you want to sell it, you control the price of it, you control whether you want it to be on streaming platforms, you control all of that. And in the music industry, when you sign deals, whether they're record deals, publishing deals, or even management agreements, you are negotiating against a certain portion of those rights. You are licensing those rights to a third party in exchange for compensation. So we have agreements with performing rights organizations, with agencies like Harry Fox that manage mechanical licensing, with Song Trust. There are many, many entities in the music industry whose job it is to try to create more revenue around your music. And in exchange for the work that they do, you may give them a flat fee or even a percentage or even an ownership stake in your music. So, understanding what your copyrights are is super important to navigating the music industry. Now, how do you obtain a copyright? Well, I told you at the beginning that your copyright is assigned to you automatically just by you creating a work. But if you want to be able to enforce that copyright in the court of law, then you've got to register it. In the United States, you register with the US Copyright Office. So you send in some paperwork, you send in proof that you are the one that created it, and they will issue you that copyright. And that is the easiest way to make sure that you are the owner of your works. There's no such thing as a poor man's copyright. You can't mail yourself a copy of this work, your lyrics or your song. The best thing to do is to register that work with the Copyright Office. That way, if you do find that someone is actually infringing on your rights or violating your rights in some way, then you have legal ground to stand on if it does in fact go to court. So make sure you register with the US Copyright Office, and I will make sure I leave a link to that in the description of this video. Now, if someone is violating your copyright, there are a few things you can do. First thing you'll want to do is reach out to an attorney because they can help you do some of these things and take some of these actions. But you can also send out a cease and desist letter. Those usually stop copywriters or copyright infringers dead in their tracks. But in some cases, you are going to have to go even further. You may have to file a lawsuit. You may have to be Marvin Gaye's family, right? You've got to do some things to make sure that your work is protected and is not being used in a way that you don't have or that you don't deem permissible. So you've got actions that you can take, but they start with registering your music so that you can prove that you are the copyright owner. I hope that video was helpful. I hope it helps you understand exactly what your copyrights are. And if you're having trouble with it, leave your question in the comments below. Now, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it if you shared it with a friend. If you're interested in videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, then hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more of our videos. And until the next time, be safe, be well, keep dreaming, and work hard to make those music business dreams a reality. I'll see you next time. Peace.